continuing with our perspective letters practice. So if you were on this video, you should have already finished up to this point. If you are like, I don't even know what this is, you need to go back to yesterday's assignment and do that first, and then move on to today's. So we are going to finish this practice today and then submit it to Canvas for points. Let's continue on the top row with our block letter C. So this is an alternative if you don't want to deal with curves. If curves are a little bit tricky for you, you can eliminate curves. I have alphabets that I'll provide for you when we do the project. So let's start with the very top left corner, lining it up to the vanishing point. I'm going to draw this and then stop because I hit this letter C. Okay? I'm going to do the bottom left corner to the vanishing point. Again, always making sure my ruler's lined up to the vanishing point. Bottom right corner. And then I'm pretty much done on the left side. Now I need to go to the inside. So let's start on the very far right side and the top part of the C. So right here. And touch. Okay. And then just to the left of that, this corner is going to draw. It hits the C, so we stop. And then this little indent here, I can draw that corner. Hits the C and then stop. And that's it with the top part. Now I'm at the bottom of this little arm of the C. And that's it. Now what we want to do is cut off this letter C. So same deal, start with the ruler lined up on the front of the shape, drag it back just a little bit, draw the back construction line, and then just work your way around. Remember, if I'm going too fast for you, pause the video, replay it, do what you need to do to catch back up. Trying that line. So I'll leave this on the screen for a second, so if you need to pause it and finish doing the back construction lines, you can. I'm going to start erasing my extra orthogonal lines. Okay, let's move on to the bottom of the paper. Let's start with the letter N. Now with these letters down here, I'm going to show you what it's going to look like if you don't cut off your letters. It is an option for your project to just let your letters go all the way to the vanishing point. So we are going to do all the way up to the back construction line step and then just stop before we actually do that step. So we don't have to cut off these letters. It's only an option for your project. So I wanted to show you how if you wanted to do that. But now I'm going to show you what it's going to look like if you don't. So let's start on the letter N. We have on the left leg, we have the very bottom right corner. We're going to draw that until it hits the letter N and then stop. Now, because we know we're not cutting off these letters, we do want to draw them kind of darker, these orthogonal lines. Very bottom right corner of the N, I'm going to draw it until it hits the letter L, then I stop. The very top right of the N, make sure my ruler's lined up to the vanishing point. Draw it, hits the vanishing point, stop. Just to the left of that little corner there. Draw it, hits the vanishing point, stop. Then the next corner that's on the top, so just one in from the left. Draw it, stop. And then last one, for now, draw it and then stop. Now that's everything I need for the end, because if I check all these other corners, they draw through the shape first, so I don't actually need those ones. Now let's start with the letter L. So we have this very upper left corner. Draw that and stop. Upper right corner. Draw and stop. And then this indent right here in the letter L. And then I have the upper corner of the foot of the letter L. And it barely dodges my Z. If yours hits the Z, remember you draw it and stop. Actually, I think I wasn't lined up to the vanishing point. So it would hit the letter Z. Line up to the vanishing point. If I draw that, it hits the letter Z, and so I have to stop because it hits that barely. And then this is gonna get really skinny, but very bottom right corner, I draw it and then I stop because it hits the letter Z. So it's starting to look kind of weird here, and that's just because it's approaching being near the bottom of the vanishing point. So we're not seeing this side as much anymore because it's moving kind of in front of us. So that's it for the N and L. Again, if you need to pause it, and then catch up and move on. Here is the letter Z. Let's start with the upper left corner. This is gonna get tricky because we are just below the vanishing point. So we do have to check extra things. If I check this corner just below the one I just drew, I will not draw it because it barely goes through the letter Z. But in this upper right corner, I can draw that one. If I check the corner just below that one, I won't draw it. It draws through the shape. I won't draw that indent. I will draw this corner in the bottom, but kind of just above the very bottom one. That one goes straight up. And then if I check this bottom corner, it basically follows the line I just drew, so I won't draw that one. Now, depending on how you drew your Z, you might be slightly different than mine. So check every corner. Line up with the very bottom right corner. And that's it. I only ended up drawing 4 lines of this Z, and that tends to happen when things are directly below the vanishing point or above, or if they're on the horizon line. They kind of look weird. Okay, last one, the letter O. Line up your ruler to the vanishing point, slowly approach the letter O, make sure it's still going to the vanishing point. Draw that, I hit the letter Z, and so I stop. Same thing on the top, vanishing point, very edge of the letter O, draw that, and then I stop. And I won't draw anything in the middle because this is going all the way to the vanishing point. So that's it for your practice. I will let this be on the screen for a second, so if you need to pause, fix anything, because this is graded, so if you get lines wrong, I will be marking it wrong, so you need to fix them. Make sure it looks just like this before you submit. If you're confident and it looks good, go ahead and click on the link just below this video to submit the assignment, and then that's it for today.